Hey guys, just checking in, little progress report here. So I use angle grinders probably the most that I have any power tool. I was able to snag this Porter cable for 10 clams today, $10. Runs great, just as a secondary one, so I can have the grinding wheel on one and wire wheel on the other, or a flapper disc on one, grinding stone on the other, etc., etc. So it's Porter cable definitely isn't what it used to be. This is made in China and it's only a 6 amp. But for $10, I'll take it. So I'm working on the vise, the big vise. I've been cleaning up the metal. I got a long way to go on that yet. So a little bit of a story on this Craftsman, this big Craftsman grinder I snagged for $5. So it didn't work, and I knew I could fix it. So I brought it home and conducted some testing. Figured out that it was the power cord, replaced the power cord. The way it was, now this was trigger switch activated, and there was a little micro switch in there that the trigger would engage, and then that would, make it run. So one of the tabs on the micro switch was bent all the way in the wrong direction, to the point where it hindered the case, the plastic case, when putting it back together. So, my OCD, I tried to bend it back, and it ended up snapping off, and the whole plastic surround broke. And when I go online to try to see if I can order a cheap one, and $21, $22 for this little micro switch, just a little tiny thing. So I looked around for a spare one, didn't have one. Got tired of dicking around. It's a $5 piece. I got some tape on there and stuff I added for. So I decided just to add a toggle switch to it. So I'm a lefty. Let me show you real quick. So I'm a lefty, and you can easily just. So you can easily just switch that on and off. A little hard one-handed, but with the weight of the unit itself. So it's got that little wooden handle. That looks like it's not factory. But, there was a little crack in the plastic casing, and when you held onto the handle, it flexed a little bit. So what I did was, I put some Gorilla Tape on there, and it's pretty rock solid now. I'm not really trying to go all out with this thing. I just want to make it as good as can be. It's $5. So replaced the power cord, broke the micro switch, and ended up adding a toggle switch, which I feel is almost as good. It's not quite as good as the trigger, but whatever. $5. So there's that. So I got that grinder going. The John Deere, I'm pretty sure I've shown that one before. This was part of a tool lot a while back, and it's cheap. It's small, and but it's held up. I've punished this thing. I've used this for long periods of time, in hot weather and cold weather. It almost looks like some kind of Hitachi, like Hitachi made it. But yeah, so I got the Craftsman grinder, the John Deere, and then the newest, the Porter cable. I got a 11 amp DeWalt, brand new in the box, in my bedroom that I'm just holding on to. I bought 2 of them a while back, cheap. Guy had 2 brand new DeWalt 11 amp grinders, and I bought them both. So worst comes to worst, you pull that one out, but I like to use the old stuff and get my money's worth out of it. So those are on deck. Gonna probably do a little more work on this vise. I got work tomorrow night and the night after, but Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights off. So hopefully I have this thing. I tack welded some spots where the metal was real low, real badly damaged. Like dents and whatnot. So I just threw some tacks in there, and I'm going over the whole piece. I'm going to smooth the whole piece out. Any casting issues I'm going to correct. I have OCD real bad. I like stuff perfect, so I'm going to go through this whole piece with a fine-tooth comb. And when it's all painted and ready to roll, it's going to be a thing of beauty. But I'm going to try to make some progress on that this coming weekend. Otherwise, and this little welder is what I typically use the most. It's a little FluxCore 125, FluxCore 125 or 120. FluxCore 120, I believe. But Harbor Freight was like $90. I bought the 2-year extended warranty. I got another 1.5 years or so on it. Things paid for itself a couple times over, and it's got a pretty decent duty cycle, which means that, you know, I don't have to wait long periods of time constantly for this thing to get correct. So anyways, kind of a mess going on in this back bench here. Got this couple of little small projects going on. Got this Bonnie 1/2-inch drive ratchet that I'm taking apart. It's kind of unique, right? The whole piece. So I'm going to kind of smooth that out. The knob is kind of rough. So got that going on. Another pair of these scissors. I always try to find, I have so much stuff, and I'm always trying to find ideas on how to display this stuff. And see that right there, little scissors on the wall? I got them going all the way from the top, and pretty much from largest to smallest, but from the top all the way down. I got a couple more pairs on deck, but yeah, let's see if I can back up and get you. So that's pretty much from the floor to the ceiling. Those are well, mostly decent older made in USA shears. You know, I got my levels hung up. I think I've showed that before. I snagged a can of Real Deals Dollar Store. I snagged a can of gloss white enamel for $1 today. So the only can they had. I would have bought more, but anyways. The other project I've started is I do a lot of thrifting. I love thrift stores. I go there and I look for stuff, and I bought these little shelving units, and they're real wood. There's 2 of them, and they have grooves. They have grooves along the horizontal part there. It almost makes me think they were for like displaying like Chinaware plates and whatnot. So anyways, I bought them. I got them anchored to the wall there. And what I've done is I've hung up my files, and just through kind of some of those eyelet screws. So the handled files are on the bottom there, and then I had 2 of those Harbor Freight magnets, and you know, for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what the hell to do with them. So they're working pretty well for the files. You know, I got I got some of my files hung up here right in front of the bench. These are the smaller ones. These are some smaller ones as well. And I got a few piles. You can't really see them. It's kind of dark, but I got more to go yet. I'm gonna get a couple more magnets and hang up the rest of them. So many, but you know, these were all in a couple drawers in one of my toolboxes over there, and they're just taking up space. So, you know, I figure hang them up. Kind of looks cool. And frees up some space in the box. So that's pretty much what I'm working on. The files, you know, the big vice over here is what's on my mind. I want to get more done on this for sure. So at some point along the way, this is my Atlas 1020. So at some point, this chuck here, it's a Jacobs, standard Jacobs 6A. It froze up real bad. I don't know how. I mean, it was bad. There was definitely some metal on metal contact, and it was like real bad. Something was wrong. So um, I had popped that off. Uh, it's on there with a taper, so I had popped that off and taken it apart completely, cleaned it all out. It's pretty smooth now. Now it's definitely, I don't know what it was. If something got bumped out of position, but it's I was spinning the whole thing, but it's definitely working now. You know, it's turning everything. Can't really show you, but yeah. But this thing's a beauty, man. I got to figure out what I'm going to do. Scout Crafter, shout out to you, John. Well, Scout Crafter had done a little bit of homework and discovered that the badging that goes here is actually a plastic emblem. I think it's, if I remember correctly, it's like a cursive type of font. And I think it's in red plastic. On the inside of this cap, you can see the plastic tabs that were there. But in any event, I wasn't able to find a replacement emblem anywhere online. I'd love to be able to just find one and, you know, order it for $5-10 and be done with it. But I think I'm just gonna get creative with Plexi and try to make one of my own. I don't have a scroll saw, believe it or not. One of the few tools I don't own, but I'm not afraid of a little bit of manual labor. And if that means taking out the hand files and going to town with them, so be it. But I'd like to get that on there, and this thing would be almost complete. The motor isn't original, but it's a nice motor. It's an older motor, and I'm fine with that. But other than that, the piece is rock solid. When I bought this, the owner had a little bit of sentimental value, and you know, I told him that I take these things apart, clean them up, and he said, "Oh, that's cool. You know, if you could, just send me a picture when you're done with it." And I did. You know, I saved his number, and I texted him a couple pictures of the finished product, and he was ecstatic, real happy. You know, it took a couple minutes of my time, and I'm very big on principle and doing what I say I'm going to do and keeping my words, so it made me feel good to send him that picture, and definitely made him happy to see this thing brought back to life. So anyways, that's about it, guys. I'm going to go in. I just did some cleaning out of the gutters. Kind of dirty, but appreciate you watching as always. Have a good night. Thanks a million.